Today's the first day that you can apply the franchise tag or the transition tags to the players, and we got that till March 8th. I'm starting to hear some whispers about maybe Dalton Schultz being one of those guys. Anything brewing on your end that you're hearing? I know that we talked about maybe some curse. We mentioned that might be a little pricey right there. Any chance of Randy on a tag for at least 1 year, or you hear anything different?
I think Randy would make some sense in a normal setting, but the only thing that gives me some hesitation on tagging Randy is I think they feel comfortable about their ability to get it done. You remember we talked about how, well, what's going to happen with Amari Cooper, and,
sure.
and you've only got one tag that you can use on Dak, and then Amari's going to be free, and sure enough, like Washington tried to, outbid you, but I think that it's a similar spot with Randy where they feel good about the player wants to be here, they want the player, and so I think they would feel comfortable potentially just having him be open if it comes to that. But I do think that if they were going to make it a choice between Gregory or Schultz, I think Schultz would be the one they'd have to be a little bit more concerned about going and shopping and potentially getting snatched away. So if they want to, keep both players on hold for a little bit or reserve the right, I think they would opt more for Schultz. But I don't think there's anything definitive. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't use the tag at all. But I think there's at least a shot with Schultz and Gregory, but I'd lean more with Schultz in that point.
Bobby, I hope I'm not putting you in a bad spot here with this question.
Please do.
Yeah, but I know you talk to a lot of agents and people that the big power people in this league and stuff like that. Has anybody given you any idea just what they think the Cowboys are going to do? These agents like to talk just to kind of speculate and stuff. Has anybody given you anything that like, yeah, I think Coop's gone. I think they're going to get this done, that done. Has anybody kind of walked you through any of that stuff?
I think there is a general sense among not just agents. I think just in general across, league sources in and out of the building. I think that there's a sense that exactly what I've told you guys, that Amari Cooper is going to be gone. And again, I don't think that's anything, as I've reiterated several times, I don't think that's anything they have decided on. It's not like they've told Amari, like, hey, this is coming, this is happening, this is done, we've already made our determination. I just think that everybody gets a general sense that this is where this is going, is that Amari Cooper and the Cowboys are going to have a divorce sometime in the next 4 weeks. I think DeMarcus Lawrence, similarly, I think there's a sense that I think they'd like to get him down, as I kind of mentioned to you guys. They can save $8 million off the cap by releasing DeMarcus Lawrence pre-June 1. I think they would prefer to have DeMarcus Lawrence than not, so I think they'd like to negotiate a pay cut somewhere in the ballpark of the same savings of if they cut him. And so, maybe you knock him down $6 to $8 million annually, and then you give some of that money to Randy Gregory, along with whatever you've already budgeted out. And then I think they'd like to operate with Randy and DeMarcus both around $12 million if possible per year. That could be something I think that you could see them look at. But I think things are a little muddier with Tank just because you don't know how much they try and ask for a pay cut. You don't know how receptive his side would be to it. I think DeMarcus Lawrence likes being a Cowboy.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I'm hearing exactly what you're saying about that.
I don't think he's looking for a reason to get out of here.
Right.
And so, I think that he'd be, amenable to certain discussions. But I mean, again, if it's too steep, there comes a point where, it's about respect and, just making financial sense that maybe he reaches. But I wouldn't be surprised if it were close. Like, even if DeMarcus Lawrence thought he could get a couple million extra on the market, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd accept a pay cut that would, keep him here. Because I think he really likes being in Dallas and he really likes this team.
It's Bobby Belt with us here on The Fan talking about respect.
Bobby, yesterday you tried to trade Zeke. And
good work.
Bobby.
You missed it, Jeff. I traded Zeke for Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Oh, attaboy. I thought maybe I would trade Zeke and a 5 for a 7.
No.
I'll pay you in draft capital.
Bobby, I want Bobby to explain. Are you getting? Bobby tried to take just a 6, and I'm saying this in a way, and I'm not just saying just whatever, but. And I want to ask everybody here, is that what it's going to have to take? Are you going to have to sell this thing so low that you're going to move on from that contract? I mean, you can't expect to get a second-round pick for Ezekiel Elliott. You're going to have to sell this. Bobby.
But if you can do it before the draft, I don't worry about that at all.
Right, Bobby,
I can replace him without a problem.
Bobby, okay, you told us something. It's something trade post June 1, right? Is there something?
I would do a post June 1 trade. I mean, if you can get him out of here pre June 1 too, all right, fine. That only takes $500,000 in savings though. And so what I would do at that point is just in our fantasy trade world, I said move him to the Lions for a post June 1 trade for like a 6th. And Brian suggested maybe you could get some escalators if he hit certain markers, you get it up to a 4th or something like that. I just don't know that. I think everybody around the league knows you have a bad contract on your hands, and they know it's kind of like just take it or leave it. So I think anybody who'd be willing to take Zeke would be doing you a favor in their mind.
So it's a fire sale thing, right?
Sort of, yeah. I think it's just about getting the money off the books, and the whole reason why I said a team like Detroit is just because I think the team that it's going to have to make sense for is a team that has cap space, could use honestly the star power, which a team like Detroit could.
Big Ten area.
A guy who
they don't sell jerseys, right, Bobby? That's a bad.
No, they don't. They're like one of 5 teams that didn't have a jersey selling in the top 50 last year. The Lions are. And a guy who I think would be a culture fit big time for what Dan Campbell's trying to do there. And so like you get a veteran in there to kind of sell again some of the Dan Campbell mentality to younger players and stuff like that. I just think it makes sense. And the text Troy blew up yesterday and was going like, DeAndre Swift, he's better than Zeke. I know that's not the point. The point is that Zeke can move jerseys and can split time and can be ineffective. It's not like Detroit's going anywhere next year. Yeah. And so I think that, it wouldn't be a bad, thing for team morale or fan morale and for getting some buzz going there. And then the Lions in control of that contract because they don't have the bonus money on their cap or anything like that. They could easily move on from that contract after 1 year if they wanted to. And so I just think low risk gamble. It'd have to be a team like that. It'd have to be a team that's not really going anywhere and has the space and is willing to just let's take a risk because we could use some buzz.